My ex-wife thought she'd cash out big in our divorce, until she learned the house and assets were all in my mother's name. Now she suddenly wants to reconnect, but I've already moved on. Hello Reddit I+ here. My name is Adrian Cole, and I'm 41 years old. If you were to see me now, calmly walking into my workshop with a mug of black coffee, wiping my hands on a rag and setting out for another day as an independent contractor, you'd probably think I've lived a steady, predictable life. But what I'm about to share is anything but steady. It's the story of how my marriage collapsed, how betrayal tried to destroy me, and how my ex-wife's greed ended up exposing the truth in the most brutal way possible. I met Clara when I was 27. She was 24, bright, magnetic, the kind of woman who could turn heads when she walked into a room. I wasn't flashy, I was practical. I'd been working since I was 19, building a small electrical contracting business from scratch. I saved aggressively, didn't splurge, and always thought 10 steps ahead. Clara loved that about me, or at least she pretended to. She'd say things like, "I feel safe with you, Adrian. You think about things I don't even realize I should worry about." We got married after 2 years of dating. I'll admit, I rushed into it. My father had passed away the year before, and the loneliness gnawed at me. Clara filled that void, or at least it felt like she did. But what I didn't realize back then was that Clara was sharp in ways I hadn't accounted for. She didn't just fall in love with me, she studied me. She knew I was methodical, cautious, and loyal to a fault. She also knew that loyalty, when twisted, could be a weakness. Fast forward to our 10th year of marriage. By then, I had a thriving business. I was pulling in solid contracts, and we lived in a comfortable 2-story home just outside the city. Everyone assumed the house was mine. It was in my name, after all, on paper. What nobody realized was that I had transferred the deed years earlier. My mother, a retired accountant with an uncanny instinct for sniffing out financial trouble, had warned me early on, "Adrian, protect yourself. People change when money's involved. Don't assume love will blind-proof you." So the house, the savings accounts, even a portion of my business, all legally tied back to my mother. Not in an obvious way, but in ways only a professional would catch. At the time, I thought it was overcautious, but it turned out to be the smartest decision I ever made. Clara didn't know. She thought she had me wrapped around her finger, and maybe she did, until the small cracks began to show. Around year 12, Clara's attitude shifted. She became distant, secretive. The warmth in her voice turned sharp. At first, I blamed myself. I thought maybe I was working too much, maybe I wasn't giving her enough attention, but late nights at the office weren't the problem. It was late nights of her own, texting in the bathroom with the water running, taking business trips with a friend I'd never heard of before, and suddenly upgrading her wardrobe without explanation. The final straw came one night when I noticed her phone buzzing on the counter. A name popped up I didn't recognize. Daniel. I wasn't the type to snoop, but something inside me said, "Pick it up." So, I did, and there it was, a thread of messages that stripped away every illusion I had left. Clara wasn't just cheating, she was planning. She told Daniel things like, "Once this divorce goes through, I'll be set for life. He won't know what hit him." My heart pounded in my chest. Divorce? Set for life? That's when I realized she wasn't in this marriage for love anymore. She was circling, waiting for the right moment to strike, convinced she'd walk away with half of everything. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I played along. I pretended not to notice, pretended I still trusted her. Behind the scenes, I quietly got my paperwork in order. I met with my mother, reviewed every asset, every title, every account, everything tied back to her name, not mine. My lawyer confirmed it. If Clara filed for divorce, she'd be walking away with little more than her clothes and personal items. Then the day came. Clara sat me down at the kitchen table, crocodile tears in her eyes, and said, "Adrian, I don't think this is working anymore. I think we should separate. It'll be better for both of us." I'll never forget the coldness in her tone. It wasn't grief. It wasn't heartbreak. It was calculation. I nodded slowly and said, "If that's what you want, Clara, I won't fight you on it." She seemed almost relieved. She hugged me, whispered, "You'll see, this is for the best," and walked away with a strange, triumphant smile. When the papers were filed, she was bold, demanding half the house, half the business, half the accounts. Her lawyer came in swinging, confident they'd bleed me dry. But then came the crash. The judge reviewed the documents. My lawyer laid everything out, neat and irrefutable. The house belonged to my mother. The business shares were in her name. The accounts were secured long before Clara even entered the picture. Legally, Clara had no claim. Her face that day, sitting across the courtroom, was something I'll never forget. At first, smugness, then confusion, then a slow, dawning horror as the reality hit her. She wasn't walking away with millions. She wasn't walking away with half a house or half a business. She was walking away with nothing. And here's the part that still chills me. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there, pale as stone, staring straight ahead. Because in that moment, Clara realized she had been outplayed at her own game. Months passed. The divorce was finalized. I moved on, started dating again. Cautiously this time. Life felt lighter without the constant weight of deception pressing down on me. But Clara wasn't finished. A year later, out of nowhere, she called me. Her voice was soft, almost nostalgic. Adrian, I've been thinking about us, about what we had. I miss you. Maybe we should grab coffee, just to talk. I nearly laughed. After everything, after the lies, the betrayal, the courtroom theatrics, now she wanted to reconnect. But I knew what she was really after. She thought maybe if she charmed her way back in, she could find another angle, another weakness to exploit. What she didn't realize was that she'd burned the bridge to ash the day she plotted to gut me financially. There was no going back. So, I told her calmly, Clara, the man you thought you could fool doesn't exist anymore. I wish you well, but don't ever call me again. I hung up. That was the last time I heard her voice. And if you ask me what the lesson is, it's this. Betrayal doesn't always come with screaming and slammed doors. Sometimes it comes with a smile, a soft hand on your shoulder, and plans whispered to someone else in the dark. But when the truth comes crashing down, it's not the betrayed who loses everything. It's the betrayer who ends up empty-handed. For weeks after that call, I thought it was over. I'd shut the door on Clara, and that was that. But people like her, they don't walk away easily. They linger, circling like vultures, waiting for another chance. A few days later, she showed up at my workshop. No call, no warning, just standing there in the doorway like she still belonged. She had on that same perfume she used to wear when we first met, the one that used to make me weak in the knees, and she knew it. Adrian, she said softly, almost breathless, I just wanted to see you, to see if you're okay. I put down my tools and looked at her. She wasn't there to check on me. Her eyes gave her away. They darted around the shop, scanning the equipment, the shelves, the neatly kept invoices stacked on my desk. She wasn't here for me. She was here to measure what she thought she'd lost. I kept my voice steady. I'm fine, Clara. You shouldn't be here. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Can we not be like this? We spent over a decade together. You can't just erase that. Don't you miss me, even a little? And that was her weapon, nostalgia. She painted pictures of the good times, left out the betrayals, and tried to tug on the strings of a heart she once knew. She talked about our honeymoon, about the little Italian restaurant we used to go to every Friday, about the night we stayed up until dawn laughing over nothing. For a moment, I'll admit, it stirred something. Not love, not longing, but memory. And Clara was sharp enough to see it flicker across my face. She moved closer, laying a hand on my arm. See? You remember too. We don't have to throw everything away. We could try again. We could build something new. But here's the thing. People who manipulate don't talk about you. They talk about we. They blur the lines so you forget where you end, and they begin. I pulled my arm back gently and said, Clara, what exactly do you want from me? That's when she dropped the act. Her tone shifted. So subtle most people wouldn't catch it, but I did. The softness drained out of her voice, replaced by something calculated. I just think, she said, that maybe we both rushed into things. Maybe we let lawyers and paperwork ruin what we built. You know me, Adrian. You know I'm not a bad person. I made mistakes, but don't we all deserve a second chance? And then came the dagger. Besides, I'm struggling. I don't have the kind of stability I used to. The apartment I'm in, it's falling apart. The landlord doesn't fix anything. I barely sleep at night, and it's hard, being alone. I thought maybe you could help me, at least until I get back on my feet. There it was, the truth under the sugar. This wasn't about love. It wasn't about nostalgia. It was about survival, and she thought I was still her safety net. I let her talk. She painted herself as the victim. How hard life was now, how expensive everything had become, how no one understood her like I did. She even slipped in subtle jabs like, You've always been the responsible one, Adrian. You always knew how to take care of things. I miss feeling safe with you, safe. That word again. The same word she used when she first reeled me in, back when I was too blinded to see the hooks behind it. I stared at her. Really stared. And for the first time, I didn't see the woman I once loved. I saw a mirror of every manipulation, every betrayal, every calculated move she'd made. I saw how she tilted her head when she wanted sympathy, how she let her voice tremble just enough to sound fragile, but not broken, how she glanced at my desk like she was already counting what she could take if I let her back in. I finally said, Clara, you had stability. You had a home, security, a future. You threw it away when you decided your greed was worth more than your marriage. That was your choice, and now you want me to pay for the fallout? Her eyes flashed, anger, quick and sharp, but she masked it fast with a trembling smile. No, no, you're misunderstanding me. I miss us. I thought maybe we could start with coffee, maybe dinner. Nothing serious, just see where things go. That's when I realized something chilling. Clara wasn't here for reconciliation. She was here for infiltration. She thought if she could wedge herself back into my life, even a little, she'd find a way to dismantle the walls I'd built. Maybe she thought she could outlast me. But what she didn't know was that every attempt only made me stronger. I looked her in the eye and said, Clara, let's stop pretending. You don't miss me. You miss the life you thought you'd cash out on. You thought you'd walk away rich. When that didn't happen, you realized you had no plan B. And now you're here, hoping I'm stupid enough to let you back in. But I'm not that man anymore. For the first time, she couldn't fake it. Her mask cracked, her lips tightened, her eyes narrowed, and her voice turned cold. You'll regret this, she whispered. You think you're untouchable, but no one is. Not forever. Then she walked out. I stood there, silence filling the shop, my heart pounding. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. Because in that moment, I understood something I hadn't before. Clara didn't just want money, she wanted control. And when she lost it, she wasn't just angry. She was dangerous, and the story didn't end there. Because people like Clara, they always come back with one last trick. After Clara stormed out of my workshop, I thought that was the end of it. But people like her don't accept defeat easily. A few weeks later, rumors started floating around. Clients pulled me aside, asking if it was true I was going bankrupt, or if I'd been hiding debts. I knew exactly where it came from. Clara. She couldn't touch my assets in court, so now she tried to destroy me in whispers. She wanted to poison my reputation, the one thing I had built with my own hands. I stayed calm. I kept records, emails, contracts, proof of every lie. When she tried to spread stories online, I had my lawyer file cease and desist letters. When she tried to call clients directly, I confronted it head-on with facts. The more she pushed, the more desperate she became. And in her desperation, she slipped. She forged an email, pretending to be me, admitting to fraud. She thought it would ruin me. Instead, forensic IT traced it back to her. That was the last nail. My lawyer pressed charges for defamation and fraud. Clara didn't just lose her chance at my life, she gained a criminal record. The last time I saw her was in court again, but this time, she wasn't smirking. She was small, cornered, and furious at the world for not bending to her will. And me, I walked out free. My business intact, my name cleared. That's the thing about betrayal. It always circles back. She thought she could cash out on my life. In the end, she cashed out on her own.